Hello everyone, this is Surf. Today we are talking about spies and spy networks on Stoneworks. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll tell you all about what we've got going today. So 3 parts, count them 3 parts as per usual. Spies is the first one, second one spy networks, and the third one is making the viewer paranoid. Just a little bit of an insight. Also, I want to make it clear that I will not be mentioning anyone or any organization except the ARS, because I was a part of it and they are now disbanded. So I feel like I'm pretty at liberty to talk about it without spoiling anything, you know? So, you're a spy or you're a leader looking for spies, and there's a couple things you gotta look out for when you're recruiting. First is the good qualities. You gotta look out for good qualities. Are they mature enough to do it? Or are they not 9 years old? Are they competent? Are they familiar enough with the server and know how to navigate all of the servers in and of Stoneworks, around the archives and everything else? And do they have the charisma it takes to gain the trust of others when they're doing their operations for you? And if these guys have the good qualities you're looking for, if you have these qualities, you are going to need to prove yourself. You're going to need to show whoever you're working for that you've got what it takes to do what you want them to do. And that usually comes through experience. It usually comes through the delivering of information without being asked if you're a spy. That worked with the ARS in my personal experience. I was involved in a Elysian reformer and getting him to justice. And so I just started reporting on this guy and handing it to the sort of leader of the ARS, and then they gave me the spy position right after I demonstrated I was competent in getting that job done. So if you're a nation leader, if you're a spy, go and prove yourself. But if you're a leader looking for spies, I'd just have them do pretty much the same thing. If you think someone's a good fit for the job, send them to some third party, not relevant ideally, nation. Have them join, have them get citizenship, for example, and sort of report what's going on within the citizen-only channels. Very passive. They don't have to start anything. All it takes is access to the chats, and that's a really sort of the battle if you're trying to get information from places. You're also going to want to be very discretionary about where and when you put spies in places, because you only have so many. A lot of the spy networks that are around Stoneworks are really pretty small. Only got a few guys, only got about a handful. The vast majority you could count on 2 hands. You know, so you can only send so many people, so many places. And so you, as leaders of a nation or leaders of the network, you've got to choose where you want the spies to go for max effectiveness and max benefit. And so you're a spy, or you've got a spy going into nations and looking into them. What could you do? First of which is intelligence gathering, the most passive of anything you can do. And I've already laid it out. You get a citizen in there, or you get in there, you get the citizenship tags, you get the roles, and you can just sit there. You don't have to say anything, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is report what's going on, send screenshots of the chat logs if you're told to, and see what's going on. Just report back and do your best. Next, we get a little bit more active, a little bit more doing things, you know? And I call this little category, this little mini category here, subterfuge. And this is where, instead of just looking and watching and listening, the spy would figure out weaknesses. They'd start really learning. See who disagrees with the current nation administration that you're spying against, who these ringleaders are, and working with them for maximum benefit of your nation. If you wanted to play it really, really wild, you could just start introducing these people to each other. These people might not be in league with each other yet, and start passively creating a sort of a thing, of an organization that's working to take down your enemy nation from the inside, and they don't even know you're with the opposing nation, you know? So that was Spies, and now we're moving into spy networks. And there's 3 different ways, in my opinion, that I've seen that you can make a spy network. First is the top-down system. You're one nation, and you've got a spy network, and you're doing your best. The secondly is the bottom-up system. This one is much more Illuminati-esque, where you've got a group of nation leaders, and they're all working together to create a spy network. The third is the third-party intelligence, in which you are unaffiliated with any of the nations. You don't have any connections to any of the nations, and you're just a group of guys getting into servers and collecting information the best you can. So I'm going to start with the top-down system, and we're going to get a little bit more in depth. So with the top-down system, it's only a countrywide. This is by far the most common of the spy networks. I think a lot of nations have these sort of secret police or just intelligence services, really. You're operating on a small scale with very limited manpower. There's not a lot you can do with that. But these things don't happen to be maladaptive, sort of. These spy networks, or if you think there's a spy network operating in your nation, they're not necessarily trying to bring you down. They very much could. They very much might be doing that, but it's probably not wise to fear the worst. In most cases, in the vast, vast majority of cases I've seen involving espionage and spying, they're just there to listen and collect info, which can still be pretty bad. But don't assume they're trying to destroy your nation from the inside. Next, we have the bottom-up system, and this is the Illuminati of the bunch, I like to call it. You've got a group of nation leaders, and they're all coming together with their information to make a sort of monolithic network. This is worldwide. They're on a large scale. They've got a lot of manpower going. They've got multiple nations to draw from in terms of manpower pool for anyone interested in helping them in that endeavor. And this one you've really got to watch out for, because you don't know. There's far too many people to keep track of. If you're concerned about another nation across the river or whatever, and they've got some of their citizens, like if you notice that some of your citizens also have citizenship over there, you can kind of tell. However, with these, there's a lot of people, and they can be from a multitude of countries. So it's very hard to tell, and something that it's hard to keep track of. Lastly, the third-party intelligence. These are by far the rarest and the hardest to detect, because they have really no national affiliation, and they could just be there looking to learn something, at worst steal your nation or sell that information to an adversary. This one should make you paranoid. This one should sort of give you goosebumps a little, because there's no way to tell who they are and where they go. However, they do vary in effectiveness. It all depends on the work ethic of those guys who are there, because they have no nation to protect, really, so they're going to be more or less passive in their agenda. So if you get in a war with another nation, they might send spies over to you, but if it's just a third-party intelligence that you have no way of knowing who they are or where they are, you can't really defend against that, you know? It's an ingenious idea, the third-party intelligence structure. Now moving on to making the viewer paranoid, our last category This will be dealing with more meta stuff, such as making your own network, how to detect any spies, and what spies should do if they get a little too successful, which can happen. It happened to me. That's why I'll tell you about it. Starting with how to detect spies. It's very, very hard to do. However, this is where you could use some controlled opposition. If you have a couple guys, maybe one or two, fake being disloyal, that might attract the spies to try to persuade them to rebel or cause problems for the nation to create instability. And if those guys are loyal agents to the nation, whose thing is to root out spies, you got them caught right there. You got to be smart about it. You got to know the meta plays. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to entrap the people that are looking to do your nation harm. Also, something more passive you can do is just look through people's mutual servers. If they're in the nation that's opposing your nation, that might be a thing to look out for, specifically if they have a citizen role in the opposing nation. And just a sort of basic background check. If some guy tries to get into your thing, you can ask the people, do you know this guy? Do you trust this guy? Or is this just a stranger? And some people might know this guy from before and say he's no good. Now, to create your own spy network, if you don't have one, if you want to make one, you need to find good candidates. Maybe your friends, or just some people you found along the way in the server that you really trust and you are very confident they can do the job effectively. Also, once you've sort of made your organization and you're trying to grow it, keeping layers of knowledge is a really good idea. Having like an inner circle at the top and then maybe some more secondary characters below and then all your sort of spies and informants at the bottom. If you want, it's a good method for preventing leaks. So all of the spies know they're reporting, but the spies don't know what the other spies are doing. Just in the shocking event that there's a betrayal or a double agent kind of thing, it really prevents bad actors from getting into your spy network and causing a lot of damage. Lastly now, the path for successful spies. You can only do so many missions as a spy before your name starts to get around. You start to get name recognition. People know you're doing spy things. For my case, in the ARS, they took the Elysian Reformer to court, and in that court I had to testify and present my information. And so if they know you're doing this, if people know you're doing this and people know you're good at it, they're going to be pretty paranoid about letting you in their nation in the first place, knowing that you could very well be a spy. Also, I think it's pretty inevitable if you're a spy for long enough, people sort of get wind. Maybe after like 10 missions or so, you're in like all of the servers and people are going to start asking questions, so you got to be aware of that. In my opinion, after you sort of exhaust your anonymity, you could say, is you could start calling shots within the spy network if the leaders sort of wanted you to be there. If they really value your participation and know that you know what you're doing, then that would be the time to start taking leadership positions, taking a step back from the covertness within other nations, stepping back into your spy network's Discord and calling shots there, and finding more spies, more competent spies, and really helping with the administration and telling people where they ought to go for maximum effect, and also giving tips and everything to more junior spies. But that's all I got for you. What did you think? Is there anything you can add? Am I misunderstanding something? Let me know in the comments section. Next episode, I will be talking about the first that I am aware of ARG, alternate reality game, in Stoneworks history. Dead Signal, if you're familiar with that name. If you're not familiar with that name, stay tuned. I'm going to tell you about it coming up real soon. But like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be right on back.